Hi, everybody. How are you? I am excited. Listen, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about is weight loss because this is kind of like my superpower when it comes to health is I'd say 50, well, maybe even more than that. 60% of my clients that come to me who want to work with me are wanting to lose weight, even if they have diabetes or prediabetes. The secondary thing that they want to do is lose the weight because if you have diabetes or prediabetes or insulin resistance, you're going to have extra weight most of the time. So I'd say majority of people struggle with their weight. So tonight we're going to talk about the 10 most common reasons why your body is stuck. So maybe why you've gained weight or why you're like, why in the world am I gaining weight and I haven't changed anything, right? We're going to talk about that tonight. And I think I'm going over 10, the 10 that I think are the most the biggest reasons. And to be honest, menopause and perimenopause isn't on here. Just give you a heads up. Because you really should not have to gain weight during peri or menopause or perimenopause if your hormones and everything is in balance and you're doing the right thing. So that's not even on this list. So we're going to talk about 10 reasons why, the top 10 reasons why you cannot lose weight. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys tonight. Now, I always have to kind of give you, a disclaimer. I am not diagnosing you. So all of my opinions, all of my research, and all of my teachings tonight are based on my personal experiences and the experiences of my clients, in addition to my education and my studies. So this does not replace your medical advice or your medical doctor's advice, but I will say what I do is I come from the point of view of what I do is we take what your doctor has diagnosed or what your doctor has is done for blood work. We analyze everything, and then we try to find the reason why you're have the health issue that you have. So what doctors do is they'll do your blood work, they'll diagnose, which they're brilliant at, and then they'll match the symptom that you're having or the blood labs that are out of balance. They'll match that with a medication. What I do is we take that information that we get from your doctor and we find out, well, what's the reason why? Why is the blood sugar high? Why is, the cholesterol high? Why are you having these symptoms? Why is your blood pressure high? Why is that you can't lose weight? Why do you have cravings? Why is you have heartburn? Why are you depressed? So we take all of that and we analyze it, and then we put you on a holistic protocol that doesn't require drugs to try to get you off of medications and try to find the reasons why your body's out of balance. If you are unable to lose weight, your body's out of balance. That's it. And these are the top 10 reasons why it could be out of balance. Okay, so let's get started. The top 10 reasons why you are having problems losing weight. The first one, this is pretty obvious, is your blood sugars. Now, if your blood sugars are high, it's basically blocking your body's ability to lose weight. Okay. So you are what you eat. So if you're chronically eating the wrong things that are causing your blood sugars to spike, you are going to have a difficult time losing weight. You are what you eat. So if you're eating, lots of processed food, lots of chemical foods, lots of packaged foods, lots of foods that are full of preservatives, if you're eating a lot of non-organic foods that have tons of pesticides on them, that is affecting your cells. That is affecting your body's ability to burn fat. Your body is designed to take things that it doesn't know what to do with. So, for example, if you're eating a salad with greens and vegetables full of vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients, when you eat that, your body knows what to do with all the vitamins and minerals because it's whole food, healthy, nutrient dense food. Your body knows what to do with that. It breaks it down, it digests it, and then it assimilates all the nutrition into the cells of the body where it's needed. You eat a hamburger at McDonald's and French fries that has no nutritional value and is full of toxins and bad oils. Your body breaks that down, and now it's kind of panicked and it puts a burden on the body. And your body's like, I don't know what to do with this rancid seed oil. I don't know what to do with this, this sugar. I don't know what to do with this gluten. And so it pushes it into the fat cells to try to get it out of the blood, because our bodies are very smart and it does the best it can. But if you're putting all this crap in all the time, you're putting a burden on the body, and that affects how your body operates. And one of the mechanisms that it's designed to do is digest food, assimilate nutrients, and not store fat. But when you're putting bad crap in all the time, it blocks the body's ability to burn fat, and it stores it instead. It stores the toxins in the cells to get it away from, the blood and the organs. Okay, so the body is very smart. So you are what you eat. Processed chemical foods, GMOs, all that is very harmful to the body. So we always encourage you to try to do your best to eat organic, eat real food. 90% of your food should be real food. And when I say real food, it's food that's coming from the ground. So get rid of canned goods and processed food and foods that are in boxes, okay? So try to eat real food 90% of the time. And then you also want real protein. So I'm not a big fan of protein powders for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is because it's processed. And also whey protein really does spike your blood sugars. And also whey protein is from usually non-organic, whey, which is made from, dairy that is full of hormones. And so I'm just not a big fan of animal protein powders. I am a fan of animal protein, organic, actual real protein, not processed in a box. Okay. Number 2 is insulin resistance. And just to give you a real quick lesson on insulin resistance, if your blood sugars are high, that means your insulin's high. Okay, you can't have high blood sugars and low insulin at the same time, especially if you're pre or type 2 diabetic. So if your blood sugars have been high for a period of, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, or if you've had diabetes or pre-diabetes for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you absolutely have insulin resistance, because when your blood sugars are high, your insulin is high. And what insulin's job is to push all the sugar away from the blood, push it into the cells. Okay, so if that insulin receptor is not working properly, it's causing insulin resistance, and you're going to gain weight. When you have high insulin in your body, it shuts down your fat burning. You cannot burn fat if your insulin is high. So I've done a class in our Facebook group here. You can go into the group and you can, in the search, you can type in the 3 types of insulin resistance. I've done a class on insulin resistance, and I would say for sure you guys should watch that. Here's the other thing I'm going to say. We have a lot of women in this group who are pre-diabetic and type 2 diabetic. If you're pre or type 2, you're also insulin resistant, okay? We have some of you that have not been diagnosed with pre-diabetes or insulin resistant, but you can't lose weight. If you can't lose weight, and it's not one of these any other 8 or 9 things I'm going to talk about tonight, you for sure have insulin resistance. I mean, listen, it's very common for women to have insulin resistance, especially if you're getting into those perimenopausal age or menopausal age, because the body is very smart, and it does not want to keep sugars or toxins in the blood. It wants to push it into the cell. And the more you have that going on, the more insulin your body is producing and using. It causes damage to the cells, and then you become insulin resistant, which means that the sugar and the toxins stay in the blood because the insulin is unable to push the sugar and the chemicals into the cells anymore, and the fat cells. Okay, so I'd say about 100. I can say almost 100% of women that come to work with me are insulin resistant, and they don't even know it. And insulin resistance, the good and bad news with insulin resistance is the bad news is it's, if you have it, man, it is tricky. The good news is it's really easy to fix if you know how to fix it. And the bad news is it's not hard to fix, but you're being told the wrong things. Your doctors don't know how to reverse insulin resistance. They don't know how to fix it. But you do have to be, there's a specific things you have to do in order to heal it. So insulin resistance is a big number 2. And if you're number 1, which is the blood sugars, right? The high blood sugars, if you're not eating well, you're eating really crappy food and toxic foods, the next step is going to be you're going to get insulin resistance. So pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, you for sure have insulin resistance. But if you haven't been diagnosed with pre or type 2, you probably have insulin resistance. The older you get, the more apt you are to get that, just because, the pancreas gets tired, the body gets tired if you're not doing the right things to keep those blood sugars down. Okay. So that is number two. Number three, hormones, and it's kind of similar to number two, which is insulin resistance, but you have four fat storing hormones. The one, insulin, which we just talked about, leptin, ghrelin, and cortisol. Those four hormones cause you to store fat. So if any of those are off, and I can guarantee if you're a middle-aged woman, your insulin, your leptin, your ghrelin, and your cortisol are probably all whacked, right? And so those four hormones are responsible for fat storing. The fat burning hormones are T3, GH, growth hormone, IGF-1, that's growth factor number one, glucagon, testosterone, and adrenaline. And so these two categories of hormones are opposite each other. So one is fat storing and one is fat burning. Okay, so insulin blocks all of the fat burning hormones. So if you have high insulin, so here's kind of like the chart. If you have high blood sugar, you for sure have high insulin. If you have high insulin, you're blocking the fat burning hormones. This is why you're having such a hard time losing weight, because if your insulin is high, you're blocking all of the fat burning hormones, no matter what you do, no matter if you exercise or even if you eat right. You've got to fix the insulin resistance. Okay. Number four, this is a big one, chronic stress. Chronic stress raises that cortisol. So if I go back to chart 3 here, and I said fat storing hormones are insulin, leptin, ghrelin, and cortisol. Cortisol is one of the hormones that's fat storing. So stress is causing cortisol to elevate. So if you're stressed out, you're raising that blood sugar, which is then raising insulin, and that's blocking your fat burning. Okay. So chronic stress is not just I've had a bad day, right? And you're stressed out mentally. Chronic stress can also mean physical stress. It can mean internal stress, and it can mean chemical stress. And so what I mean by internal stress is type 2 diabetes, menopause, perimenopause, having an infection, parasites, anything that's internal, like in the body, that is causing stress on the body, and that will raise your cortisol. Anything physical, overworking out, or if you've had surgery, right? Like if you've had surgery, that's a stress on the body, and your cortisol will raise to try to heal the body. And then chemical, so that would be anything like if you're on medications, that is a stress on the body. Even though you've been told medications are good for symptoms, it also, the opposite is true, which it is a stress on the body, because your body is not designed to take medications. It is, they might do one thing, but it's causing damage in another way. Okay, so chronic stress is a big one. You are either in the fight or flight mode, which is stress mode, which is fight or flight, which is the sympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is what you want. We need both, by the way. We need to have a balance of both. But if you are constantly in the sympathetic side, the fight or flight side, that's what's keeping weight on you. Okay. So parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest. So if you're having a lot of constipation or bloating, or you're not sleeping at night, it's like if you're in fight or flight, your body's very it's acting on adrenaline, and it's your body's it's fighting, right? It's preparing for a traumatic event, or trying to fight for safety. That's what fight or flight is. Whereas rest and digest is you're relaxed, you're calm. So I always advise my clients to, if you're in a constant state of fight or flight, you need to purposely try to calm and do some meditating or relaxation, or massages or baths or something, anything to help with that parasympathetic nervous system. Number 5, cellular toxicity. This is a big one. This is a huge one. Cellular toxicity is so common because you can get cellular toxicity from the foods that you eat, from the chemicals that you're putting on your skin, and there's so many different ways to attract cellular toxicity, toxins in the body, preservatives, chemicals, what you breathe in, what you eat, what you put on your skin, all of those are toxics, and that goes into your body and goes into your cells. So most of these toxins are stored in the bile. And if your bile, which is, stored in the gallbladder, and your liver produces bile, so if you don't have a gallbladder, you're really going to have a problem. But if you do have a gallbladder, but your bile isn't flowing properly, these toxins stay stuck and then you reabsorb. And so you also can't eliminate these toxins if the bile isn't flowing properly. So a big indication that your bile isn't working properly is if you are constipated, if you have bloating, if you've had your gallbladder out, chances are you are storing a lot of toxins and you're reassimilating those toxins and not getting them out. Okay. So what we put in, meaning what we eat, the kind of foods that we eat, and also if we're eating non-organic, that will expose us to toxins. What we put on our skin, products, right? Toothpaste and lotions and hair products, and also anything that you use for chemicals for cleaning. If you're not using gloves or if you're breathing them in. And so the next one is what we breathe in. So if you're using candles or aerosol sprays or hairsprays or things that are very toxic, you're putting that inside of your body, and those things accumulate and they build up and they cause cellular damage, and they prevent the body from being able to lose weight. Okay, so that's another thing you got to consider. It impairs fat burning. It disrupts your hormones. It raises your inflammation. The toxins enter the fat cells, and this is why a lot of times people gain weight, because again, your body is smart. It's trying to hide those toxins from the bloodstream, so it pushes it into the fat cell where they're stored. So your fat cells are full of toxins. And then also toxins are a burden to the liver, which also affects how your body is detoxing. It affects the bile that you're making. So it's all very important. Okay. So again, our natural detox pathways, if they're open, they're going to clear out these toxins. But if they're not open, I mean, our detox pathways are clogged, or our bucket is full and we overload these pathways with toxic foods, unhealthy lifestyle habits, plastics, pesticides, all of that, then we're going to suffer from weight gain. So I just like this example of how you can kind of see that toxins are a huge part of our inability to lose weight also. Lack of sleep. The reason why is because when you are sleep deprived, you cause the body to release cortisol. So if you're not sleeping well or if you're stressed out, your body is going to raise cortisol. When you sleep at night and your melatonin and your body is in that parasympathetic nervous system part of the ANS system, your body starts to relax and your body normalizes. Okay. So if you're sleep deprived, it keeps your cortisol up, and you just end up causing more uh, stress for your body to be able to lose weight, because we do lose weight at night. That's part of the time we lose weight, is when we're relaxed and when our body's able to um, re remove these toxins from our body. So what you need to do is you need to for sure change your lifestyle, but it takes some work. You have to intentionally go to bed earlier. You've got to make sure that you're following a really good protocol where you're not exposing yourself to all these things. You have to make sure that your room is dark. I mean, a lot of times if you have a lot of electronics or EMFs in your room, that can cause your body's ability to not be able to sleep very well. And also if you're hot, right? So I always recommend try to get your room between 65 and 70 degrees. Some people like it cooler, but that usually is an optimal sleep temperature. So you're going to have to really try to monitor your sleep. I use an Aura ring, which is this little ring that I wear on my finger. And what this does is I really do like it because it's just on your finger. It's very accurate for sleep. I don't wear this for heart rate. I don't wear it for monitoring my workouts for much. It's my sleep and how my body is recovering. So it does an HRV variability monitor. It's very good. I like it. Aura, OURA ring. And it spits out a report every day that gives you a score on how you've slept. It tells you how long you've been in REM sleep, in deep sleep, or light sleep. really like it. And since I've been using it, I've been able to figure out how to really adjust my score by, going to bed earlier or making sure my room is cooler or making sure that I don't eat, or drink caffeine before bed and just being able make sure my room is dark. I know when I first moved to Florida, I was not sleeping very well because it's so bright here. And so the sun would come up at 6 o'clock and I don't get up that early. I just don't. I like to get up, a little later. So I had to make sure that my blinds were just, always shut. And I bought different dark blinds so that when I was ready to get up, I would get up. And so I wouldn't be woken up early. So again, I like the Aura Ring. It just is a really good way to monitor sleep and be able to tweak it and improve your sleep. The next one, medications. I know you're not going to like this answer, but your doctors are not telling you the truth about this. Medications do many things to inhibit your body's ability to lose fat. One is they block nutrient absorption. When you're nutrient deficient, your body doesn't want to lose weight because it wants to keep weight on you. Okay, so medications absolutely can block nutrient deficiency. And when you're nutrient deficient, you will have a terrible time losing weight. So I think I have this chart actually in the free group under the files, but you can look at the different drug class and then you can see the brand names and then you can look over here and determine which vitamins and nutrients are being depleted. So for example, if you're taking diuretics, okay, you're going to be depleted in vitamin B1, B6, magnesium, calcium, potassium, zinc, and sodium. If you're taking a statin, like Lipitor, Crestor, you're going to be deficient in magnesium, potassium, coenzyme Q10. So I like this chart. You guys can go ahead and take a screenshot of it if you want, but this is just to show you that if you are on any of these medications, you are for sure blocking the absorption of nutrients. And so if you're not being nutrified, you're not going to be able to lose weight very well, and you will gain weight. A lot of these medications will cause that your cortisol to raise too. It also causes blood sugars to elevate, which is another reason why you could be gaining weight from certain medications. Okay, so they're toxic, they cause hormone disruption, they raise your cortisol, they raise your blood sugar, and they cause you to, not be able to absorb nutrition. So this is, you guys, I can't stand medications. And please hear me. When I say I hate medications, I don't mean that you shouldn't use them short term if needed once in a while. Okay? I'm of the opinion that when you go to your doctor, the first thing they want to do is prescribe a drug. My theory is if you have a symptom, what's causing the symptom? And let's find out what's causing the symptom based on what you're eating, what you're doing, your lifestyle, if you're nutrient deficient, if you've got, diabetes or prediabetes, whatever. You can learn a lot from your symptoms. You don't need a medication for a symptom. Okay? Now, what I will say is medications short terms, sometimes you have to. If you have an infection, if you've got, something like that where you need an antibiotic, I get it. But even so, if you're getting infections a lot and your doctor is prescribing you antibiotic after antibiotic after antibiotic, my question to you would be, why are you getting infections so much? Like, what's causing you to have to be on an antibiotic? I can tell you, I can't remember the last time I've been on antibiotic. And the only time I was ever on an antibiotic was when I had a surgery way back a while, like many years ago. I had some surgery and I had to go on antibiotic. Otherwise, I have my 40, 50 years of life, I have not been on antibiotics because again, I want to prevent my body from having to get infections. I want to have my immune system take care of these things, right? So, and that is possible. So I know you guys are being told the opposite and you're being told, medicate, you need medication, you need vaccines, you need medication. And I'm saying that the body's innate intelligence is designed to heal itself. But please hear me. I'm not saying all medications are wrong all the time. I'm saying they're overused, and your goal should never be to be on a medication long term. That should never be the goal. Your goal should never be, oh yeah, I'm going to be on this medication for the rest of my life. Your goal should be, if I need it right now, short term to get until I can heal my body or I can figure it out, okay. But your goal should never be on a medication long term. That's just my opinion, and that's what I train and how I help my clients. I try to get them off medications because I've seen what medications do and how they damage the body, the body's ability to work properly. Okay, so that's that. All right, couple more here. Just another real quick added, you know, tidbit. These are drugs also that deplete vitamin D, and as a country, we are so depleted in vitamin D. And if you're on any of these drugs, you're even more depleted. So your body needs vitamin D, as you have learned from the last two classes I've done on, cholesterol and statins and all of that. Cholesterol is needed to make vitamin D. Vitamin D is needed for cholesterol. So if you're on any of these drugs, they're going to be blocked, and you need vitamin D. Every cell in the body needs vitamin D. I've done a class on this also. So if you go back inside the group under the search tab and you type in drugs that raise blood sugars, you can watch that class. But I've done a whole class that does more of a deep dive on that topic. Number 8, over exercising. So many women think that the more working out the more working out they do, the more they're going to lose weight. It's always temporary, because if you over exercise, you're causing stress on the body. You're using up nutrients that you're probably already nutrient deficient. So you're using up a lot of nutrients. Your cortisol is elevating, and if you're doing it the wrong way, you're going to it's going to affect your body's ability to lose weight. Eventually, it's going to stall, and then you're going to gain weight. Dehydration is another factor, because when you work out a lot, you can get dehydrated. And if you have long-term dehydration, the body burns less fat when it's dehydrated. So lack of weight training kind of falls under the same category. Is you have to weight train. If you need to pick cardio over weights, do less cardio per week and do more weights. If you lift twice a week and just do some low intensity cardio, you're going to have way more results from that versus doing this heavy hit training, or intense training where it's your body it's too stressful. Okay, especially as you get older. As you get older, your body needs more weight training and less intense cardio. Okay, so just remember that we really do want to increase the weights, because weight training also will help with burning sugar, and healing insulin resistance, and it causes the mitochondria in the muscles to work better, which is where you burn sugar. So very important. Number 9, thyroid. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about this, because you go to your doctor, and I even kind of hesitated to put this slide on here, because this is why. Because you go to your doctor and you tell them that you are, a little bit overweight, you can't lose weight. The first thing they're going to say is thyroid. So the thyroid is being blamed for the wrong thing. Okay, the reason why your thyroid is suppressed is due to all the other things I've just shared with you. It's the toxins, it's eating like crap. That affects your thyroid. Okay, so going on a medication isn't fixing the underlying problem. So now what happens, they put you on a medication because they say your thyroid is suppressed, when you could just fix it by, adding in some thyroid support with what you eat, and your how you take care of your stress, all of that. So what doctors do, they put you on these medications, and then when you're on the medication, your thyroid stops producing the hormones altogether. So now your thyroid is being blamed for something that it didn't do, and now the medications are going in, and it's basically stopping your own thyroid from producing those hormones. So thyroid medication is the medication that once you're on it for a period of time, you can never get off of it, because it actually takes over the thyroid's natural ability to produce thyroid hormone. This is why I hate thyroid medication. So I would much rather, if you go to your doctor and they say it's thyroid, I would much rather try all these other things first and support the thyroid and build the thyroid up so it can work properly. Because your thyroid isn't suppressed because you lack levothyroxine. Your thyroid isn't suppressed because, you need medication. Your thyroid is suppressed because it's been stressed out. It's been vilified by toxins that you're consuming. it's been overworked. That's it. It's not nutrified. All of our food is so depleted. So, the certain iodine and certain things that we need for the thyroid are not in our food anymore. So no wonder why the thyroid levels are off, maybe. But the thyroid can come back. But once you go on medication, the only thing happens when you go on medication, the only thing I can promise you is that you'll have to keep increasing the medication and you're not going to be able to come off of it. So those of you who aren't on thyroid medication, but your doctor wants you to be, please consider working with me or letting me help you to rebuild your thyroid first before you go on thyroid medication. Because once you're on thyroid medication, it's bad. um, so again, thyroid issues are usually caused by chronic over dieting, nutrient deficiencies, and toxicity. So your poor thyroid is getting blamed for something that we're actually causing. So my opinion is that doctors are too quick to assume that your thyroid is to blame, when in actuality, our choices are affecting how the thyroid operates. It's not the thyroid's fault. And then the last one is the nutrition deficiency. So I would recommend that you guys watch the program I did on this. Go into the group and type in, "Are you nutrient deficient?" Because this will blow your mind when you understand how important nutrients are in your body. And it's like putting gas in your car. If you are running on fumes in your car is going to break down. Okay. We don't get all of the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that we need from our food anymore. So even if you're eating healthy, you do need certain supplements, certain nutrients for your body to operate. And 100% of women I work with are nutrient deficient because, one, they're not eating well usually, but even if you are, your food is not, it's not full of nutrition like it used to be. Everything is processed. Everything is coming from the ground now. Is the soil is depleted because they're putting glyphosate and they're putting chemicals in the soil to make the plants grow faster. So it's depleting our minerals. So you're not getting your minerals and your vitamins from the food anymore. So you have to supplement. So most people are nutrient deficient. Okay. And just a real quick thing, if you have low blood pressure, if you have blood pressure under like 99 and your systolic is under 112, that's low blood pressure. Your blood pressure should be 100, 115, it should be a little high. It should be that 110 to 120. So people will come to me and say, "Oh yeah, my blood pressure is only 99 or 98." That's not good. That means that's potentially a mineral deficiency. Okay, so low blood pressure isn't always, doesn't mean you're healthy. Okay, a low blood pressure means that too low is a mineral deficiency. We want it between 110 and 130 is actually really good. Okay, so the goal isn't to have your blood pressure so low where you're feeling like you're lightheaded. So just remember that could mean that could be what that means if your blood pressure is low. Okay. Have you guys ever heard of MIND? It's medical induced nutrient deficiency. That is a term in the holistic world. So if you work with anybody, you hear somebody say that, yeah, you have MIND, it's a medical induced nutrient deficiency. That's the thing. Some of the symptoms you'll have if you're nutrient deficient are this list: fatigue, depression, edema, irritability, nightmares, stiffness in the body, tightness in the body, oily skin, cracks in the corner of your mouth, weight gain, weight loss, flaky skin, yellow eyes, asthma, coughs, red gums, craving ice or dirt. So there's just a lot of things that a lot of symptoms that are caused by nutrient deficiency. And if you go back to that class on that, I go into more detail and explain all that. Okay. 80% of all diseases are caused by nutrient deficiencies. Isn't that crazy? Okay, some additional talking points here really quick. So those are the top 10 I gave you, but there's a few other things I just want to throw in here, okay? You hear a lot of times calories in versus calories out. That's not a thing, okay? If you look at this graphic here, you could have 2 tablespoons of oil, which would be about 500 calories, or you could have 5 plates of fruits and vegetables for 500 calories. Okay, so again, calories in, calories are not all the same. So if you're telling yourself, "Oh, I'm just going to go on a 500 calorie diet, or I'm going to go on a 1,000 calorie diet," doesn't matter what I eat, but it's going to be 1,000 calories. That is not how you do this. Your body needs good quality food. So as I think I proved to you in this class is your hormones are to blame for the fat burning and the fat storing. So if you're putting in really bad quality foods that's raising the sugars and the insulin and causing toxicity, that is more of a factor than your actual calories. So I have some women that are on 500 calories a day and they're gaining weight, and I have some women that are on 2,000 calories a day and losing weight. How is that possible? It's the quality of the food, the quality of the calories that you're putting in. So we never count calories ever, ever, ever. Has nothing to do with losing weight. It's all about the quality of foods that you're putting in and the health of your metabolism, the health of your mitochondria in the muscle, and the health of your metabolism. Most people think eating fat causes fat. This is not true, except I'm talking about eating healthy fats. Healthy fats do not cause fat gain. When I'm talking healthy fats, I'm talking olive oil, avocado oil, grass-fed butter, ghee, coconut oil. Those fats are healthy fats. The fats that are causing weight gain are the rancid canola oils and vegetable oils that the restaurants are frying your food in, or the seed oils that you're getting off the shelf that are rancid. Those are the fats that are causing cellular damage and causing your body to gain weight. So good fats are not bad for you and they're not causing you to gain weight. And then this last thing I want to talk about real quick, and I think I talk about this every class, but I am so tired of hearing diabetes educators or other nutritionists or trainers or whatever, they're saying, oh, everything's okay in moderation. This is the number one worst advice that I hear dietitians or diabetes educators telling you guys. Everything in moderation. It's just not true. Listen, I want you to really hear me on this. I want you to visualize this, okay? Every time you eat something, so let's say you eat uh, um, some cauliflower. You eat that cauliflower. In the cauliflower is vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, all what the body requires. The body takes all of that after it digests, it takes all of that nutrition, and it assimilates it in the body where it needs to go. It doesn't go into fat cells. It goes into the cells of the body that need it for your health, for your energy, for your metabolism, for, the heart, for the eyes to blink, for the brain to think, for the legs to move. I mean, your body needs fuel. So your body breaks down that food into fuel and it assimilates it into the body where it's needed. Now, that's healthy food, right? Now, let's say you take some pizza or hamburger or whatever. All of that gross, toxic, rancid, chemical, preservative food. You eat that. You digest it. It goes in. Your body doesn't look at that food and say, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay if we'll just tightly we'll just make sure that we take this and it won't harm the body at all, and we'll push it right through the body. It won't do anything. It doesn't do that. The body does try to hide it though, because it's so bad. The body tries to digest it and it pushes it into the fat cell to hide it from the tissue. Okay, so it takes all of these things. It tries so hard to get rid of it, but it can't. It has to go somewhere. So instead of keeping it in the blood, it tries to push it into the fat cells. So when people say everything in moderation, what does that even mean? Because everything you eat, it has to do something in your body. It's got to go somewhere, it's got to do something. So if you're putting crappy food in all the time, what do you expect your body to do? It's got to do something with it. So moderation, in my opinion, it's just a phrase that's just stupid, because your body is going to, whatever you put into it, your body has to do something with it. So it's either going to feed your health or it's going to feed disease. It's going to feed your body breaking down. Those are the only two options. There's no in between. You're feeding your health, you're feeding your cells, you're feeding the longevity of your immune system. You're feeding all of those, or you're feeding disease. You're putting all that food that's really toxic is a burden on the body, and it's causing your body to be very toxic, and it's a burden, and it's a stress on the body. So when I say burden, I say stress, it's the same thing. And it's causing that fight or flight, right? So I just want you to think about that. Now, am I saying that you can't ever have a cookie or a piece of pizza? That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying this, if you're chronically inflamed and you have diabetes and you're really sick, this everything in moderation, your body can't handle it. It's just your body's too burdened to even handle it. Now, if you're healthy and you're doing 99% of your diet is right and you have one bad meal, your body, your body can probably handle that because it's you don't have it, it's not so toxic. I personally wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying you've got to look at it as your body's got to do something with it. So you can decide you want to either eat that food and put a burden on the body and feed the disease, or you're going to eat and you're going to feed health. It's your choice. It doesn't matter to me, but I just can't stand it when your doctors and your other personal trainers and your diabetes educators are saying, "Oh, everything in moderation." It's not a thing because your body has to do whatever you put in it. It's got to do something with it, and you're either feeding health or you're feeding disease. Food sensitivities too. This is also a big one. Like if you're eating food and you're noticing, you know, when you eat certain things that it's causing you to not feel very well, that's a really good indication that, you've got a food intolerance and your body's not breaking down things, and that will cause weight gain also. And then mindset, of course, I just wanted to go over this. We are so stressed out these days. Women are so stressed out, not just women, but I'm just saying because this is a women's group, we are stressed out if it's not our family, our work, our kids, if it's not the economy, if it's not, us trying to just, work and raise a family and trying to manage our health, and we're worried about our diabetes, and we're worried about going to the doctor, we are so stressed out. And when we're that stressed out, it's causing us to stay in that fight or flight mode and causing the cortisol to raise. So if we don't intentionally work on our mindset, it's just going to cause us to want to eat more. Because think about it, when we're stressed, what's the first thing that most of us want to do? We want to break from being stressed. And what causes us to have a break? We want a dopamine hit. So what does food do? Or alcohol or drugs, right? It gives us that boost of dopamine so we don't have to think about the stress in our lives. But that's just a temporary fix. So a lot of the work I do with my clients and coaching them is really to identify and understand, how we're thinking about things and how we're processing our emotions. Because most of the time, what we want to do is we don't want to feel those emotions. We want to push them away and we don't want to feel them. So we eat or we drink or we smoke or whatever. And so what I do is I try to help you understand that, listen, emotions, they don't feel good, but they're just emotions. So how do we manage that? How do we process those emotions? And that's a huge thing that I think would be important for you guys to think about starting to work on, because if you can get your mindset right and you can start working on your stress levels and understanding that, you're going to not be so tempted to overeat or to put those bad foods in, which are causing all these stressors on your body. Just remember, it's never just one thing. So if you're having a hard time losing weight, it's never just one thing. It could be all 10 of these things I shared with you tonight. It could be 3 of them. It could be 4. It could be 2, but it's never just one. So you want to take a look at the entirety of your situation, and you want to say, okay, out of the 10 things I went over tonight, which ones could I start to maybe work on? Like maybe it starts with your diet, maybe it starts with your stress, maybe it starts with really examining the kinds of foods you're putting in. Is it packaged food or is it organic? Like you can make some different kind of decisions on what you start with. Like when you start peeling back the layers of what you can do to start working on this, you can pick one at a time, right? But it's never just one thing that's causing it, ever. Again, remember that all of those classes I talked about tonight are in the group. So if you go into the group and you go under the media section and you type in videos, they're in there. Or you could go to the search bar. See this little search bar here? If you go to the search bar and type in, the class I was talking about tonight, you see one right here, drugs that raise blood sugars. there's just so many in that group. So you have access to all those classes. So this is why I do these classes for you guys, because I just want you to know that you are supported, that I am here to help you. I want you to understand that you can do this, and I want to be your go-to person. I want to be the coach, the health practitioner that can help you, that can actually give you a different perspective, because the only perspective you're seeing is from the medical side. And when you're overweight, all they want to do is push Ozempic on you and push drugs on you and fat burners. And listen, they work, but not without a consequence and not without damage and not without, it's a short-term fix. Oh, the Ozempics, the fat burning, all that, it's a short-term fix. It's not getting down to the underlying root cause. It's not addressing the insulin resistance. It's not addressing, the kind of foods you're putting in. It's not addressing the toxicity issue. It's not addressing the hormones. Okay, it's manipulating your body to lose actually more muscle than even fat, and you're just causing more damage. So I want to help you and I'm here for you. And I do want you to know that every week I do a different topic, a different class in this group. And you can always rewatch the classes because they're stored in the Facebook group and they're always on there for you for replay. Okay?
Your words cut deep. Don't you understand that you're bringing me down till I'm stuck?